Within AutoCAD, you can kind of select three ways. The basic way to select within AutoCAD is obviously just clicking. So a left click on your mouse and it will select an item. The same here, for example, left click on your mouse and select an item. Now AutoCAD has, alongside this, two other functions that allow you to select objects, and this is green selection and blue selection. As you can kind of see, I've got a key here, and as I go on, the key will kind of make sense. Now I have my mouse here. If I was to click once, as I drag my mouse towards the left side, you can kind of see it's kind of got this green hatch, and this is a green selection within AutoCAD. Let's say I was to move my mouse over to the right side, it's now a blue selection within AutoCAD. The main difference between these two selections is if you do a green selection towards your left, anything that this selection kind of comes in contact with, any objects it kind of slightly touches, it will select all of it. Compare this to blue selection towards your right, is that it would have to cover the full object for it to be selected. So I've kind of got an example of this down below. Let's go down here. You can kind of see we've got different objects within AutoCAD. Let's say I wanted to select my blue circle here. Now obviously these kind of green lines are in the way. So this is where my blue selection towards my right will come into play. So I can click and drag my mouse towards my right, and as you can see, as I kind of hover my mouse over this object and cover all of it, and I was to click again, it's now selected this. So I'm going to do this again. It's now selected this object, my blue circle. So I can do the same here for my triangle also. If I was to click and then drag my mouse towards my right, you can see it's now selected my triangle here also. So let's say I was to select these two objects here at the end, and I didn't want to select my green lines. I can kind of click here and drag my mouse, and I'm only covering these two objects. From this point I can move it, rotate it, and do whatever I want to do with it. But this is now the selection that I have. So now compare this to my green selection towards the left. So let's say I wanted to select all of these green lines here. I can just click my mouse once and bring my mouse towards my left and drag it. And as long as I'm touching all of these objects, you can see I'm just slightly touching the top of it with my mouse, but it selects all of it. This is how the green selection within AutoCAD works. So as long as I kind of touch it with the selection set object, it will select it. So let's say I wanted to select these lines here and this blue circle here. I can just do a green selection and just select the top of my circle. It doesn't matter, it will select all of it for me. Let's say I wanted to select these two lines here. I can just do a blue selection and drag my mouse towards the right and just cover these two objects, and now these two objects are selected. So you can kind of see the difference between the two. So let's say I wanted to select my blue circle here. I could use a blue selection set, but alongside this is a kind of different function within selections. So if I click with my mouse and I hold down the click, I can now kind of draw a selection shape. I can just bring my mouse all the way around like this. As you can see, as I cover my circle, it's now selected. So instead of 2 clicks, I press escape, like I was doing before, click once and click again for my selection. If I click and I hold down my click while dragging my mouse, I can now select objects also. Now these two objects are selected, and it's kind of like a custom kind of selection that you kind of draw. And this is the same thing from your left to right. So I can do this with a green selection as well. Hold down my mouse and drag, just by holding down the click and drawing a shape to be selected. And another quick tip as well, this is much quicker compared to your traditional way of selecting an object one by one by one. So let's say we wanted to select all of these green items here at the top, these lines. Obviously we would do a green selection set, move our mouse towards the left. Now let's say we didn't want one of these objects to be selected. Now a way of kind of unselecting an object is hold down Shift and select your object, and this deselects an object. So as you can see, we can kind of use our blue selection set or green selection set, and through the use of Shift we can unselect objects. So it makes it much quicker to kind of edit what we want to keep and not keep. So let's say for example we wanted to select everything apart from this circle here. We can actually do this in one selection and then just deselect an object. So we would use our green selection set, going towards our left, selecting all of the objects, and now we would come back in and we can hold down Shift and deselect our circle. And you can do this multiple times. So let's say I decided, oh, I don't want this end object to be selected also. I can also click and leaving everything else selected. Press escape. These are kind of your selections within AutoCAD. So you've got your green selection to your left and your blue selection to your right. And hopefully over time you start using this and get a little bit more friendly with it and understanding how to use it, and then you can start using it on projects of your own also.